And we are live. Hey, how is it going? It's your muscle building coach, Lee Hayward, back again with another live video Q&A for the Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel, as well as the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Facebook page. Hopefully everything is coming through loud and clear on your end. And as you're popping onto our live stream here, I would greatly appreciate it if you could let me know if it is coming through loud and clear. So those of you who are tuning in, I know some people are popping onto the live stream right now. If you are tuning in, just make a comment in the comment section, in the chat window or the comment section, and let me know if this is coming through loud and clear. We got David joining in. Hello, how's it going? Hopefully it is coming through. You can hear me and see me. All right, so today we are going to be going into a Q&A. Coming through loud and clear, loud and clear. Awesome, appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you much. Just want to always make sure. But yeah, today we're going to be diving into a Q&A, answering your fitness and nutrition related questions, whether that is questions related to fat loss, building muscle, training, nutrition, supplementation, whatever it is that you would like to discuss related to health, fitness, and wellness. Please type those questions and topics of discussion into our chat window, and I'll do the best that I can to help you out over the course of our video chat today. And for those of you who are new to the chat, I want to welcome you. Always nice to have new people tuning in. And this is something that I do pretty much every Friday. We have our live at 5 Q&A here on the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Facebook page and the Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel. So wherever you happen to be tuning in from, whether that is on Facebook or YouTube, welcome to the chat. And I've been doing this for quite a while. I've been doing these live weekly Q&As for literally over 20 years now. You know, since the invention of live stream, if you will. Even before YouTube was offering live streaming services, there was another company called Ustream that used to offer live stream. I believe that was the first one that I ever heard of back in the mid 2000s. That's when that started. And been doing these live Q&A ever since. And it's something that I enjoy doing. A great opportunity to chat and interact and have these, interactive conversations with you. And of course, it's a great opportunity to get to know who's following in on the other end there. So let's see, who do we have joining in here today? Let's see, we got David is joining in. I see we have Emma's joining in. I'm going to answer the question shortly now. I just want to see who's joining in. Okay, we've got Mark joining in as well. Awesome. Good stuff. Tim joined in. The legend of live stream returns. Lee, let's see what kind of heavy reps and even heavier laughs we're in for tonight. Awesome. And Tim's a regular over on the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Facebook group. And if you are on Facebook, I would highly recommend you check us out over there. Just do a search for Lee Hayward's Total Fitness Bodybuilding. But I want to give a shout out to Tim, Mr. Zionic 484, because he has lost a lot of weight over the past year. In fact, Tim, you're tuning in now. If I'm not mistaken, I think is it 80 pounds? Correct me if I'm wrong. I know you posted it up earlier this week on our page there, but let us know, how much weight have you lost over the past year? And we can see by your avatar picture there in your comment, looking very lean and jacked there indeed, which is very impressive. All right. People saying congrats to Tim. Absolutely, for sure. So yeah, if you're tuning in there now, just let us know how much you have actually lost over the past year, because it is quite impressive. And I love how you shared that. In fact, if you're over on the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Facebook group, you can check it out. But the thing that I like the most about it is it hasn't been linear progress, and he shares his weight progress graph. I mean, the trend is moving down, right? The long-term trend, but there's always spikes and fluctuations in between. And this is the way fat loss progress works, and progress in any area, whether that's progress for building strength, progress for increasing your endurance, improving athletic performance, building muscle. It's not linear. There's always going to be fluctuations and bumps along the way, but we're looking at the bigger picture and the long-term trend. And as long as you're moving in the right direction over time, right? Don't get discouraged by short-term fluctuations. Like I'm on another group that I'm a part of, the Dad Bod Transformation Group. I know someone said, "Oh, I started working out 4 days ago," and he says, "I've gained fat and lost muscle in the 4 days that I started working out." I'm like, "What the? How do you gain fat and lose muscle by starting to work out? I mean, your weight can fluctuate, but you're not going to see long-term significant changes in such a short period of time. You need to look at what's happening over the course of several weeks and even over the course of several months and ultimately over the course of the year. That's what we're looking at." And again, Tim just said close to 70 pounds now over the past year. Congratulations. Where I got messed up, I was quoting 80 pounds. There was another guy on our group, is in the VIP group, Andy Reimer. He's lost 80 pounds on his fat loss journey. And I actually posted shared his post up on my Facebook page there earlier this week as well. Andy's one of our Muscle After 40 members going through the program, made an incredible transformation and has lost 80 pounds. And one of the things I'm hearing from a lot of these guys, and I'm sure Tim can relate to this as well, having to go out and buy new clothes, right? I mean, like, how cool is that, right? When you're dropping weight, the pants are getting bigger, or it feels that way, right? And you need to go out now and invest in new clothes because you're transforming your body. I mean, that is a huge win, and it really helps to reinforce the progress that you're making. You know, when your clothes are fitting looser and you got to go and get new duds, just reinforces that your hard work and consistency is paying off. All right, so let's jump in here now. Let's see. Oh, actually, you got Andy joining in as well. Hey, hey, Andy. Right, just sharing your wins there, right? New clothes, yes. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, and David saying 80 pounds. Nice, Andy. Good stuff. Absolutely. All right, guys, I'm going to start jumping in and answering some Q&A. So again, for those of you who are just popping onto the live stream right now, this is your opportunity to post any questions and topics of discussion related to fat loss, muscle building, training, nutrition, anything that you would like to discuss related to health and wellness. Go ahead and post that into our video chat, either into the chat window over on YouTube or the comment section if you're watching this over on the Facebook page. All righty. In fact, most people tune in through YouTube. I'm seeing most of these comments are coming through YouTube, but we do get some folks over on Facebook as well joining in. All right, who has the first question of the day? We got Emma joining in from the UK. We've got, yeah, stealing my profile picture. Good on you. Welcome to the chat, Mr. Yeah. Who else we got joining in? Mark's joining in. Good stuff. All right. First question right here from Emma. How do you continue to retain muscle when you do so much cycling now? That's a great question, you know, and this is a common misconception. A lot of people think if you do cardio, you're going to lose muscle, or, you know, if you do from the other side of the coin, for people who are endurance athletes, I think if I do strength training, then that's going to make me slow and muscle bound, right? And the reality is both are complementary. You can actually utilize both. Now, you're not going to prioritize and achieve maximum results in both endurance and muscle building, right? You kind of have to pick and choose what it is you want to focus on. At this stage of the game, my priority is endurance training, and my main focus is kind of like maintaining my strength and my muscle through weight training and using that to help supplement the cycling and the endurance training. And this is just personal preference. Like, I've done bodybuilding for a long time. Like, I started competing in bodybuilding back in 1995. Right up until 2011, I was competing pretty much every year on the local and regional level. And I went as far as I wanted to go, or felt I could go, with bodybuilding. So I kind of had my fill of bodybuilding during that time. After that, took a break from competition. We started a family. My wife and I, you know, became parents, and now kind of got that settled away. I mean, obviously, you know, we're still raising a family, don't get me wrong, but like it's, it's not, Harvey's out of the diaper phase, and he's doesn't require quite as much TLC, if you know what I mean. He got a little bit more freedom there now. So what I want to focus on is cycling. That's something that I really enjoy, and I've always done cycling ever since I was a kid. I rode a bike, and I never stopped, even as an adult. But I've gotten more serious, and now I'm competing on our local cycling races and stuff like that, and it's just a lot of fun. So my main priority now is cycling, but I'm still going to the gym 2 to 3 times a week doing strength training. And the big thing, as long as you're still doing strength training, and the big one, of course, is the nutrition. As long as you're eating enough protein and eating enough nutrients to maintain your energy and your fitness, you can still maintain muscle mass while doing endurance sports. And a common misconception is people think, if I do endurance, then I'm going to lose the muscle, as I mentioned before. And while it's true that some of the best endurance athletes are probably like genetically slender people, it's not that they're training to be that way, if you know what I mean. Like, a lot of times it's genetics, just the same as some of the best strength athletes are naturally big people, naturally muscular, they have mesomorphic body types, whereas most endurance athletes at the elite level anyway are ectomorphic body types. So sometimes what you think is people losing muscle for endurance, it's probably that's their genetic tendencies. They're just naturally a lean, thin person, and that's why they excel in endurance sports. Vice versa, when you look at someone who's a top level bodybuilder or a top level powerlifter or strongman or someone like that, they probably are genetically big people, genetically have a lot of muscle on their frame. And then, of course, when you combine that with training and nutrition, they can maximize their genetic potential. But like, you couldn't take an elite level endurance athlete and have them follow a bodybuilder program and become an elite level bodybuilder, or vice versa, take an elite level bodybuilder and have them follow an endurance program and become an elite level endurance athlete. To explain what I'm talking about here, let's just say you take Ronnie Coleman and say, okay, well, Ronnie Coleman in his prime, not Ronnie Coleman now, but Ronnie Coleman back when he was reigning Mr. Olympia and in his prime, and said, okay, Ronnie, we're going to have you train and compete in the Tour de France. He dominated bodybuilding, but I highly doubt he would ever dominate the Tour de France. Right? He just doesn't have the physique for it. He has way too much mass on his frame, and he's not built for endurance, right? Just totally different body types. Whereas vice versa, you take like Tadej Pogačar, our current Tour de France champion, and say, okay, Tadej, we're going to get you in the gym and, get you jacked and swole and see if you can win the Mr. Olympia. Never going to happen. He doesn't have the physique for it. He has the physique to win the Tour de France, but he doesn't have a physique to compete on a bodybuilding stage, right? So a lot of this has to do with genetics, not necessarily the training side of things, right? That's the thing. And what you really need to focus on is, what is your body suited for, right? What's your genetic tendencies if you want to kind of maximize it? And another thing you got to look at too is, what do you enjoy doing? Like in my case, I don't have the genetics to be a pro bodybuilder. I don't have the genetics to be a pro cyclist. I'm kind of like, just an average Joe. All right. I'm not going to succeed at the highest level in anything, but I do what I enjoy, right? I enjoyed competing on the bodybuilding circuits, and I did that for several years, had fun, pushed myself, challenged myself, went as far as I could. And now I'm having fun competing on our local cycling races and challenging myself. And I know I'm not going to be a top level cyclist or a top level bodybuilder, but hey, it's fun. It's keeping me fit and healthy, and I enjoy it. So that's the bottom line. And most people, I'm willing to bet like 99.9% of the people watching this, you're probably not going to be an elite level athlete, right? I mean, don't want to burst any bubbles here, but just tell them it like it is. Chances are, you're probably not. Now, hey, there's probably that 1/10 of 1% out there who have the potential and are probably going to go and take it all the way in a chosen sport. And if that's you, kudos. But the reality is, most of us are just doing this for shits and giggles, right? We're doing it for fun. We're doing it to be healthy. We're doing it for a fun, healthy hobby. And that's it. All right. So our bottom line, don't overthink it, right? Just enjoy it. Anyway, well, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but let's see what else we got there. Mark is joining in saying, is calisthenics the best thing to build your core? Hi, how are you? Well, I'm doing fine, right? I'm always doing fine. Every Friday is a good day, especially when we're doing a live Q&A. Is calisthenics the best thing to build your core? It can certainly be good for the core. Like there's a lot of calisthenic exercises and body weight movements that do engage core activation, but the best, I really don't like to say there is a best exercise, especially when it comes to the core, because the core is such a, well, what we consider core is usually the abdominals, the obliques, the lower back, and all those small stabilizer muscles right around the midsection. So if you kind of look at like all the muscle that surrounds your waistline, right around the whole 360-degree circumference of the waistline, that's considered the quote unquote core. And there's so many different movements that can strengthen that. Like squats and deadlifts will help to strengthen your core. Overhead presses will help to strengthen your core. Direct work like for your abdominals, like sit-ups and crunches and planks and leg raises will work your core. Hyperextensions and back raises will work your core. Twisting exercises and rotational moves will work your core. So like, is there a best? Because there's so many different elements to it. I don't like to say, well, this is the best, because we got to look at the whole thing in the bigger picture perspective. But to answer your question, calisthenic moves can certainly be really good for your core. And when you look at true calisthenic exercises, especially like at the highest level, like think of a gymnast where they're doing a lot of rotational movements and balance and stability moves and lifting their legs up. Like you think like a gymnast doing work on a vault or on the rings or something like that. The degree of core engagement that's involved there is like off the charts. I mean, most bodybuilders and gym bros couldn't do the exercises and moves that a gymnast does. Right. So, I mean, from a core activation, yeah, that you could probably argue that that's one of the best things. But again, that's such a broad category of movements. It's not just one movement. It's all the movements that they do. Right? But I don't know if that answers your question or not, but bottom line, it's more complex, right? I don't like to just narrow it down to say, hey, this is the one best exercise, right? Look at it from a much bigger picture perspective. Let's see what else we got. David's saying that I'm looking good. Well, I got my hair done, as you can tell. All right. I like to have my hair short enough that it doesn't matter if I mess it up. Like, you can't mess this up, right? Thank you for this is the way I wake up in the morning, right? Hair's short, hair's done. What else we got? Can you treat us to one of your awesome gun shows? Well, I don't know if I got awesome guns, but there we go. There's an awesome gun. The awesome gun show. Hey, Trish, how's it going? Hey, wait. Excuse me. My wife's there on the other. Can you be a dear and bring me in a hot beverage? I would love a hot beverage right around now.
I already made it.
Yeah, well, I didn't get it. Thank you. All right, much appreciated. Look, hot beverage in the Top Dad. Oh, wait, no, there we go. The Top Dad mug. There we go. There we go. All right, where were we? Getting some applause. Thank you, Thomas. Much appreciated. Let's see what else we got. Can you squat, bench, deadlift every workout every other day? This is freaky because it looks like I'm asking my own question here. Okay. Can you squat, bench, and deadlift every workout every other day? Technically, yes. There are a lot of powerlifting programs, especially like basic powerlifting programs that do incorporate the big three lifts every other day or 3 times a week. And I actually, years back, I went through a phase where I did a very basic program, and I literally did just that. I did squat, bench, and deadlift every other day, and just focused on those exercises. I did throw in a couple other assisted moves. Like I think I still did some abdominal work and some arm work and some rotator cuff work and stuff like that. But the bread and butter, the meat and potatoes of the workout, again, the 80-20, if you will, like the bulk of it was the squat, bench, and deadlift. And how I did it was I would do 5 by 5 with those exercises, train heavy, but stop short of failure. So I wasn't pushing and draining the tank every workout. I was always like leaving a little bit in reserve, but I just focused on getting better with those exercises, mastering the technique, just improving the efficiency with those lifts. And I even alternated them. So like one day I would start with squats, there'll probably be like squat, bench, deadlift. Then the next day it'd probably be like bench, deadlift, squat. And then the other day it'd probably be deadlift, bench, squat, or something like that. But I'd always start with I'd rotate the exercise order so that each time I had the opportunity to hit that movement when I was strong and at my best, because those are big exercises and they take a lot out of you. So if you start with squats and then you finish with the deadlifts, by the time you get around to your deadlifts, fatigue is setting in. So you're not going to be as strong with that exercise as if you had started with it. So that's why I would like to rotate the order of the exercises with each workout. But yeah, I did that for a while. Just kept the core power lifts in there like that. Did that for several months and made some really impressive gains with it. Like it just really got good at those exercises. And I know a lot of guys who've done that from a powerlifting point of view. And sometimes just keeping a very simple program that you do consistently, just focus on nailing down those exercises and getting good at them, you can make some solid progress, especially if your goal is just to get bigger and stronger, which it was for me at the time. This is back in my early 20s. I was doing that and made some really good gains. Okay. If I were to do that now, I would probably space it out a bit more. Instead of every other day, I'd probably do it twice a week max, because my recovery isn't the same as it was back then. Like when I was in my early 20s, I could get away with probably doing that 3 times a week and recover from it. Now I just know my joints, tendons, and ligaments wouldn't be able to handle it. Twice a week would probably be the max that I would be able to do something like that. All right, so you just factor that in. But yeah, you can certainly incorporate a very simple program like that and make it work. All right, let's see what else we got there. A lot of people are congratulating Tim there on his weight loss, as well as Andy on his weight loss. And again, they deserve a round of applause. I mean, that's a heck of a lot of work, right? Anytime I gotta say, I respect it when I see guys going out there, putting in the work, showing up consistently. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's good enough, and it's good enough consistently. And that's the thing that I keep wanting to drive home over and over again, and almost to the point where I sound like a broken record. Good enough, and good enough consistently, because it's a pet peeve of mine when I see people, they got to be all or nothing. And then, they go all in with, I got to have the perfect program and the perfect diet and the perfect, whatever, or you got to have my supplements and sleep and routine all together. And sure, you might have it all your ducks in a row for a little while, and you're bang on, but then something derails your progress. Whatever, you get sick and you end up missing a few days at the gym, or you go on holiday and your eating habits go out the window, or something like that. Or there's a death in the family, and that totally screws up everything, mentally and your routine and everything else. And then like once that something derails that so-called perfect program, then it's like, oh, I can't be perfect. Screw it. Not going to do anything at all. Whereas you just had to be good enough. Like, even if it's not perfect, even if the shit hits the fan and things get off track, like, forgive, correct, continue, start again, and keep moving forward. And if you can do that, it's amazing the progress you can make over the long term, right? And when you look at people's progress and you see like ups and downs and fluctuations, those ups and downs and fluctuations, that's real life. That could be, hey, I fell off the rails and I overate and I had a cheat meal or whatever. We went on holidays and I blew the diet, right? Or I got sick and I ended up having to take a week or two off the gym. You know, like when you see these little blips where like I was making progress and then, oh, backtrack, you know, making progress, oh, backtrack. But as long as you can start again and keep moving forward and not getting derailed by the little setbacks and just keep tunnel vision, focus on where do I want to go? Sure, I had a setback, but keep focused on where I want to go and start again. It's amazing how much progress you can make. And again, you see that when you look at guys who have a proven plan in place, they trust the process and they refuse to quit. I mean, the results are basically inevitable. They really are. So again, that's kudos to Andy and Tim. And if anybody else has some results they want to share, feel free to do so, right? That's one of the things I love on our VIP group, right? Because we got guys who are following the program. And that's one of the things we do. Like every Friday, you know, we usually share our wins for the week. And this Friday, we had a lot of wins post up on our Muscle After 40 VIP group. All right, who else is joining in? We have Chris. Welcome, Chris. Says, I squatted 90% of my 250 1 rep max for 3 reps today, leaving none in reserve. My next 2 sets were at 70%, which felt manageable and left me with 1 to 2 reps left. Is this a smart way to train 3 sets on a body part per workout with progressive overload? All right, I got to read that again. So 90%, 1 rep max, 3 reps. Nice. Felt manageable, left me. The big thing, like you're asking there, is this a smart way to train? It's not as cut and dried as that, right? I mean, like, sure, you can push yourself occasionally, and I mean, like, leaving no reps in reserve, that's something that should be done sparingly, right? I mean, you could still do it from time to time, right? Like within my own training, for example, like there are times when I will let it all out, you know, like push myself, test myself, try for a new personal best or whatever. And that's fine to do occasionally, but you can't do that all the time. That's few and far between. Most of your workouts are going to be done with sub-maximal efforts and building strength, not necessarily testing strength. And there's a difference. Like a lot of times people think when you push yourself and you test and actually set a new record or lift a heavier weight or get more reps or whatever, that's when you're building strength. But that is kind of like the fruits of the labor. That's like the harvest of the work that you put in the past. Because lifting a new personal best or hitting a new rep goal or whatever, yeah, that's great. I mean, sure, celebrate it. That's a huge win. But that is not what made you stronger. What made you stronger so you were actually able to do that was lifting the sub-maximal weights and doing that over and over and over again and building the strength with sub-maximal weights. And it's kind of like the opposite of what we think it is. Like, again, a lot of people think that when you lift that extra, when you hit that new personal best, that's what made you stronger. But it's the sub-maximal weights done repeatedly over and over again is what actually built the strength, laid the foundation that then allowed you to hit the new personal best. So most of your workouts are going to be sub-maximal workouts. You know, you're building the skill of strength, right? You're greasing the groove, you're developing the skill, the technique, and doing the repetition and building, you know, all the neural pathways within the body and the efficiency, strengthening not only the joints, the tendons, the ligaments, and the muscles, but building the central nervous system, learning how to fire and maximize your technique with that exercise. That's what's building the strength. And then when you test yourself and, okay, now I actually lifted a new heavier weight, okay, maybe we can raise your base level another notch and focus on building strength at a new level with a higher base mark. And then that's the foundation that we're going to build on and then eventually build it up again. So you're kind of doing it in levels and in stages. But, you know, what you did, obviously, if that's a new personal best, great, kudos, it's working for you. But as far as, is it a smart way to train? Like, you're not going to do that every single day. Like, you're not going to go into the gym and empty the tank with 0 reps in reserve every single day. especially with big, heavy power moves, right? Because if you do, what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up getting burnt out or injured, right? It's only a matter of time, right? Like virtually everybody that I know of, especially when you're looking in bodybuilding and powerlifting and people who really push themselves, they got the injuries to show for it, right? Like the body's not invincible. Even though we sometimes think it is, everybody has their breaking point. And I remember like back in my early days, I thought I was invincible. I mean, like indirectly, you always know you could get injured, but like I was getting away with it. And I never had my first serious injury until I was 28. And keep in mind, I was training since I was 12. So I went from 12 all the way to 28 with no other than a scattered like muscle pull or a little strain here and there. There was no serious injuries. So I thought I was invincible. Like injuries, yeah, it's something that happens to somebody else, but it ain't going to happen to me until it did. And once I had that major injury, that's really haunted me since, right? So I had to learn this lesson the hard way. And when I'm coaching people now, especially like one-on-one in the gym, we're always, our motto is when we're training is we want to keep it below red line, right? We don't want to always go in there and just empty the tank. Every now and then we will, like say, you're feeling good, you want to test yourself, fine. But that's sparingly. That's 10% of the time or less. 90% of the time, we're keeping it below red line, right? We're focusing on building the skill of strength. And that's what allows you to stay consistent and to stay injury-free. And one thing that I want to really drive home is sometimes people think, well, when you go to absolute failure and you leave no reps in reserve, you're truly maximizing muscle stimulation. You're milking it for what it's worth. You're getting every bit out of that workout. And while that may be true, you may be maximizing the stimulation, you're also maximizing the risk of injury. And if you get injured, like you tear a muscle or you tear a tendon or a ligament, or you just hurt yourself somehow, like you throw your back out or whatever, the potential downside of that injury is going to cost you way more than the potential gain you got from pushing yourself to the limit, right? Like it's better to go, instead of going 10 out of 10, go 8 out of 10, maybe go 9 out of 10, but leave a little bit of buffer room there, right? Keep it below red line, and the risk of injury is greatly minimized, but you're still making progress. You're still able to train consistently and make progress over the long term, right? It's just like driving your car. Like if you always go over red line before you shift, like you're red line in every shift, eventually something's going to give, right? You're going to have some problems. But if you shift below red line, the chances of anything happening, any serious damage being done is minimal, right? Same with your workouts, right? Keep it below red line, right? Leave a little bit of buffer room there, and that'll allow you to be more consistent over the long term. And that's what I believe is the smart way to train. All right, who else we got there? We have the Buff Canuck joining in. Welcome to the chat, regular to our Total Fitness Bodybuilding chats. All right, how long should you follow a workout routine for? For as long as it's working and as long as you're enjoying it. There's really no set timeline. But what I want you to do is monitor your progress, monitor how you're feeling. And if you're making steady progress, you're enjoying it, keep doing it. Like the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that certainly applies with training. And there's two schools of thought on this, and I'm going to unpack this for you. There's the muscle confusion school of thought, which is like change it up all the time, right? It always provide unique muscle stimulation, shock the body. You don't want the body to get used to anything. So we're going to do something different every single time we go to the gym. That can work to a certain degree, but it's hard to really make consistent progress if every time you go, you're doing something different, because you're not really building the skill. You're just all over the place, right? It's just like throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? Like that's the approach of the muscle confusion. And then the other side is we're going to have a set program where we're going to do the same exercises, same routine, and we're really going to focus on making progress and training those exercises in a progressive overload fashion. And then, both have their pros and cons. But the good thing about having a consistent routine is you have some benchmarks to shoot for. And like, hey, last time I did this exercise, I lifted this weight for this many reps. either I'm going to try and duplicate the same sets and reps and same weight with better form, better mind muscle connection, maybe better, better tempo, better technique. Or maybe I'm going to try and better it by increasing an extra repetition or add an extra 5 pounds to the barbell or whatever, trying to see some sort of progressive overload that way. Maybe even increasing the volume is another form of progressive overload as well. But when you have a set program in place, you can easily monitor your progress, right? You can see if you're making gains or not. When you're just randomly changing it up all the time, it's hard to really judge what's working or what's not, right? Now, when should you change it up? If you're following a set program and you're not seeing any progress, like maybe you've hit a plateau, and don't just have like one workout where you hit a plateau and say, well, I'm going to scrap this workout. No, I mean, it could be you're just having an off day. Like maybe you had a crappy night's sleep. Maybe you didn't eat enough. Maybe you're feeling a bit sick or under the weather. Maybe you're under a lot of stress at work or family situations. Who knows? Like there's a gazillion variables that can affect your strength and energy. Just like some days you wake up in the morning and you're bouncing out of the bed saying, woohoo, I got energy to burn. And then other days you're like hitting the snooze button saying like, I don't want to get out of bed today. Right? Just the same as you have that fluctuation in energy, you're going to have fluctuations with your workout strength. Some days you're going to go in there and feel like, man, I'm like a raging bull here. I can go in there and crush it. Other days you're just going to be crawling in there like, I don't want to be here, but I'm just committing to showing up, right? I'm just going to go through the motions, right? So you got to factor that into play. But if you start to hit a plateau, meaning like you're going a few workouts in a row and like there's nothing happening, or worse, you're starting to see your strength actually go down. And that's very often what happens. It's not that you just hit a plateau. It's like you hit a peak and then it starts to actually go backwards again, right? So like, gee, like last week I benched 200 pounds for 10 reps. This week I'm struggling to get it for 7 reps. And then next week I'm struggling to get it for like 5 or 6. Like what the heck's on the go? Like I'm getting weaker. If you start to see your strength going down, then that's a sign that you probably want to change things up, right? Maybe you want to do a deload phase, let your body rest and recover, and then change it up and provide some unique muscle stimulation. All right. So that's how I like to go about it. And when I'm working with people one-on-one, this is something that I'll help them do. And the thing is, it's unique to each individual person, because we just can't say like every 12 weeks you're going to plateau and we need to change your program. Some people might plateau sooner. Some people might be able to stretch that out for longer, right? It's not a cookie cutter, one size fits all template, right? So you got to kind of gauge it based on your individual response, how your body's responding in real time, right? So that's where having an experienced coach in your corner can help, because, you can see through, the little warning signs, and adjust things accordingly so that you don't waste unnecessary time staying stuck in a plateau and stuck in a rut. You're kind of maximizing the efficiency and spending the maximum amount of time in productive training. That's the goal here. All right, who else we got there? We have Marino Lee, exclamation point. Welcome to the chat. Glad to have you joining in. Let's see what else we got. On about the cycling thing, look at that fella. What's his name? Armstrong. Damn, legs was huge. Do you mean Lance Armstrong? I mean, like, he's retired long ago and, had his ups and downs in the sport. I'm not going to rehash the, digging up bones and stuff like that. But I don't know if that's the guy you're referring to. But he wasn't necessarily a huge guy. He was more on the slender build. I mean, still in fantastic shape, but I mean, like, cycling shape, right? I certainly wouldn't consider huge by any stretch of the imagination. And if you look at, like, that's one thing I have to differentiate as well. Like, in the bodybuilding world, people look at me now and say, oh, you're skinny, you're scrawny, you lost all your muscle, you're small. In the cycling world, people are like, you're huge. So, like, bodybuilding huge and cycling huge are two totally different huges, right? In the bodybuilding world, if you're less than, like, if you're around 200 pounds, right, you're small. In the cycling world, if you're around 200 pounds, you're huge, right? So it depends on who you're talking to, right? The definition of huge. Cycling's really cool. I like exploring the area while cycling. Absolutely. That's one of the things I enjoy about it too, is the adventure, just getting outside, exploring new places. And I've visited so many places on a bike that I would normally never ever go to in a car. Because when you're just commuting in your car, it's it's just to commute, to get back and forth to work, to get back and forth to the grocery store, or to run your errands or whatever. But like, very few people actually go exploring in a car. Now, some people do, and if you like, the Sunday drivers, and if you do and you enjoy it, kudos, go for it. But most people don't do it. They're just like, go to work, go home, go to the grocery store, go home, go to the gym, go home, or just go to where you got to go and go back home again. But when I get out on the bike, it's like, I want to explore the back roads. I want to explore the trails. I want to, purposely make adventures and just enjoy it. And I've been to so many places, like even in my own home province, that I normally would have never been to if it wasn't for getting out on adventure rides. And I love it. It's so much fun, right? That's one thing where cycling, to me, it's way better than the gym. Because like, hey, I mean, I love going to the gym. I love working out, but it's the same shit day after day after day, right? It's the same gym, same people, same atmosphere. Now, sure, you can go to a different gym or whatever, but it's the same thing over and over and over again. Whereas when you're out on the bike, like, you could go different places every ride, right? I mean, it's so cool that way. What else we got there? Let's see. Lee's got a question. Lee's a regular to our chats. He says, I need to lose 5 kgs to make a weight category for a strongman comp in August. I'm in a calorie deficit of 400 calories a day, hoping to lose half a kilo or half to 1 pound a week. Is this the best way to do it? Obviously, you do need to be in a calorie deficit. If your goal is to lose body fat, there's no ways around it. You have to create a calorie deficit some way, some shape, some form, whether that's expending more calories or consuming less, or a combination of both. And I would probably look into a combination of both. Now, for your strongman competition and stuff like that, strongman's a unique sport in that it's a lot of muscular endurance. I mean, sure, there's peak power and strength output, but there's a lot of muscular endurance and conditioning, and actually like time under tension, right? It's different from like powerlifting, the 1 rep max, right? So explosive power, or max effort power, I should say, but very short time under tension. Bodybuilding, people are generally doing sets of 10 reps ish. You might go a little higher, might go a little lower, but 10 seems to be the sweet spot. Strongman, some of those events can be long. If you're doing, especially if you're doing like a circuit, or carries and stuff like that. I mean, it can be, or truck pulls or whatever. It's a lot of time under tension, right? So it's a unique sport in that way. So one thing that I would probably look into doing to help increase your calorie expenditure is some more circuit training that would actually complement your strongman, right? To help build up that muscular endurance. I mean, because that would actually aid with your training and help to aid with your performance. So that things like that, like circuit routine type work where you're getting a more calorie expenditure done that way. Even doing some extra low intensity cardio, that could help as well. And the low intensity cardio would serve as a active recovery. And for this, walking would be great. I know walking doesn't seem like, how's walking going to help with strongman, but it's not directly to help with the strongman. It's to active recovery and to help with calorie burning and to aid with fat loss. And I'm going to tell you right now, like when I was doing bodybuilding shows, my primary fat loss tool was walking. Like, of course, you're still doing your gym workouts and you're still doing posing practice and like all the core stuff that you would do for bodybuilding. But to help create that calorie deficit and to tap into burning extra body fat, adding in extra walking. And the thing I like about walking is it's low intensity. It's something that you can do without breaking your body down. In fact, after a walk, you actually feel energized and rejuvenated. Like you go for a walk and you're like, man, I actually feel good. Whereas if you go and do a hard workout, you feel tired after. Or if you go and do a hard run or something like that, you feel tired after. You go for a walk, you actually, very often it's actually energy producing. Like you do it and you feel good because it's so low intensity, it doesn't break the body down. So I would recommend getting in some extra walking, and ideally do structured walking, like where you're actually not just simply getting in more steps, even though that does work. Don't get me wrong, like any activity is good, but sometimes people abuse their step counters and just try and get steps in for the sake of steps. Uh, like I was talking to a gentleman a while back there, and he says, "Oh, I get lots of steps in," and one of his strategies, like he gets these, like I think he's got like a walking desk, or sometimes he says like. If I'm on a call, for example, I'll go out and just pace back and forth the hallway while I'm on a call. And sure, I mean, that is extra activity, but it's not really activity where you're elevating your heart rate to any great degree. You're simply moving, but you're not actually, you're not moving with a purpose, if you will. Whereas if you get out and do a brisk walk, like, I mean, you'll get your heart rate elevated where you actually start to get some cardiovascular benefits from it. And it is helpful, but it's still low enough intensity that it's not going to take away from your strongman training. So structured walks, right? Like, first thing in the morning, get out for a walk, or, maybe on your lunch break, get out for a walk. After work or after your workouts, get out for a walk. In the evening after dinner, get out for a walk. Like short little bursts. It doesn't have to be great, anything grand. Like, heck, even if you're just going out for 15 or 20 minutes, but just 15 or 20 minutes of a nice brisk walk, and do that a couple times a day or more, that would make a huge difference. And for someone your size, like a 15-20 minute walk, you're going to be burning 150 calories during that walk. So if you did a couple of those a day and then just tighten up your diet a little bit, boom, you just created your 400 calorie deficit from that alone, right? And another thing I want you to emphasize too, not so much just calorie deficit, but improving the quality of your calories. I actually made a short reel talking about this, and we went into more detail in our last podcast about it as well. Like, if you didn't even change the calories, but you just improve the quality of the calories, that's going to have a massive impact. Like if you went from just throwing out a sample number, like let's say someone's eating 2,500 calories a day, and it's all over the place. Like it could be fast food, processed food, whatever, but they're really strict on hitting 2,500 calories. And then someone else has 2,500 calories, but they're making sure that they're getting in good quality protein, getting in adequate, vegetables, getting in their 10 servings of veggies a day, getting in their essential fatty acids, good complex carbohydrates, and natural unprocessed food. That, even though the calories could be equal, you would get such a better metabolic response and have more strength and energy and recovery from the high quality calories versus the low quality calories. So even though we can't escape calories in, calories out, like that is a big part of the equation, don't get me wrong, we can focus on improving the quality of that and get a much better response. And my strategy for this is I always try and diet and lose fat on as high of a calorie intake as possible while still making progress. I don't like to needlessly cut calories. And I think that's a mistake, especially from an athletic performance point of view. Because if you just say, you went out there and you just, I got to drop weight, so I'm going to just, crash diet. I'm going to go intermittent fasting. I'm going to go keto or carnivore or low carb or whatever. Or I'm going to go the full meal deal and start taking these semi-glutide, Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy type, appetite suppressant medication. And you just drastically cut your calories. Sure, the weight's going to drop, but you're not nourishing the body on the cellular level. You're going to risk losing lean muscle. Your strength and athletic performance is going to go down the crapper, right? We don't want that to happen. We want to create as small of a deficit as possible while still making progress so that you can keep your strength and energy high and maintain or even gain lean muscle while you're stripping away that body fat, right? That's what a body recomposition is all about versus just losing weight. And unfortunately, most people, they're just obsessed with weight loss, right? Like they don't like the idea of slow progress, because slow progress takes too long. Like if I'm going to go on a diet, I got to lose weight now. I got to lose it fast, right? The problem with that is when you lose weight quickly, the chances of you regaining it quickly are very high as well. So it's usually an up and down, right? We want sustainable results long term. But again, that's some of the strategies that I would certainly incorporate there. And I think if you do that and give yourself enough time, you could certainly do that. I mean, like 5 kgs by August, it's doable. I mean, it's certainly going to take some dedication and effort, especially for a more advanced person. Like if you're taking someone who's brand new, overweight, got a lot of fat to lose, like 5 kg, they could do that very quickly. But for someone who's already in shape, already training consistently, that's going to take some work. Like for me to lose 5 kilograms, that would take a lot of work. Like that's not just something that I'm going to do, in a couple weeks, right? Like I would have to dedicate 2 to 3 months of solid effort minimum, right, to do that, and probably even longer, because the leaner you are, the harder it is to lose that last layer of body fat. But if you got a lot of body fat to lose, it's easy to lose the initial fat, is what I'm saying, right? But again, hopefully those strategies will help, and keep me posted. Keep me posted with how that goes. All right, who else? We got Richard joining in. He says, is there an optimal blend of steps and cardio for someone with a desk job and limited workout time? Yeah, we kind of touched on that a little bit up there. First off, any activity is better than nothing. Like, so I mean, the more the better, especially if you are have the tendency for a sedentary lifestyle. More is better. But I would recommend trying to get in some actual structured cardio, where you're purposely, moving with a mission, moving with a purpose, if you will, not just randomly shuffling your feet to get in extra steps, right? Because again, you see that a lot, like people just pacing back and forth the hallway or strolling their feet on a moving desk. Yes, it's moving and you are burning more calories versus sitting still. But if you get out and actually go for a brisk walk, that's going to be way more effective than just pacing back and forth the hallway while scrolling on your phone, for example, right? Movement with a purpose. That's what you want to focus on. And ideally, at least once a day, I'd recommend you get in some movement with a purpose. And then the rest of the day, try and squeeze in extra steps. If you're looking for a blend, an optimal blend, that's the way I would do it. Now, if you can squeeze in more, that'd be better. Like if for example, like if you did went for a walk first thing in the morning and then did a walk on your lunch break, and maybe then again another little walk after dinner in the evening, that would be ideal. And when I did my last bodybuilding show, that's what I did actually. I purposely tried to get in extra walks like that throughout the day. And when I did commit to walking, I put on the sneakers and got my ass out the door. It was full on like a good brisk walk. It wasn't just shuffle your feet, at a slow, leisurely pace. It was walking to the point where I'm breaking a sweat, my heart rate's elevated. I'm breaking a sweat during that walk. That's what you're trying to do, right? You want to actually feel like you're moving with a purpose, not just shuffling your feet. Right? So that's my blend, right? At least once a day. And if you can do it more than once a day, that'd be best. All right, let's see. Buff Canuck saying, I saw your YouTube short on Liver King. I'm glad to see he admitted that the carnivore diet is too rigid in the long run. Yeah, if you haven't already seen it, you can go check it out. It's a YouTube short video that I just posted there the other day. And I posted a slightly longer version on the Facebook page. YouTube had a limit where they only allowed me to post a 60-second clip, but it's like a 2-minute clip where I just elaborate on it a bit more on Facebook. But it's the same thing. And if you haven't checked it out already, up on Netflix now, there's a documentary on the Liver King. It's called Untold: The Liver King. And it's it's an interesting documentary. And I have to be honest, I mean, I know of the Liver King because, I mean, he's popping up on, he's all over social media and stuff like that. And I mean, a lot of people are talking about him and he's very controversial. But I never really followed, like I've never actually sat down and watched any of his content before, because anytime people are extreme, I kind of just like, bleh, like I don't even want to get into it because I just know it's like a train wreck. I don't want to get caught up in it. But the documentary popped up on Netflix, and I just said, you know what the hell, right? I flicked it on and I watched it, and I was kind of blown away by like how big the guy actually is. Like, he created this massive supplement company and this massive following, and overall, like if you can see through the smoke and the mirrors and the bullshit, the core message was pretty good for the most part. Like, he is trying to preach. Second, guys, my phone's ringing there. I'll get that later. People should know better. Who's calling me at this? They know Fridays I'm doing a live Q&A. They should tune into the live Q&A and not bother calling me on the phone. Anyway, what was I was talking about the documentary, but yeah, overall, like, he's trying to preach eating, like cutting out the processed food, exercising, getting, like living a healthy lifestyle for the most part. But of course, now he has a bit of smoke and mirrors where he didn't admit the performance enhancing drug side of things and the extreme diet, the carnivore. That's the one that really irks me, because I see it so often where people are preaching, carnivore. And the thing is, if you're eating a standard American diet, which means I'm eating whatever the hell I want, right? Fast food, junk food, processed food, like, I'm hungry, I eat, I don't care what it is, as long as it tastes good. Like, if that's your diet strategy and you have no idea of calories, protein, carbs, or whatever, and you just eat anything and everything, especially if it comes in prepackaged bags or from drive-through windows or from Uber Eats or DoorDash or skipping dishes or whatever your junk food of choice comes from these days. If that's your diet and then you switch to carnivore, well, yeah, carnivore is going to be an improvement over that. So yeah, you could certainly see some progress. And it's going to help to eliminate a lot of that processed food if you're just eating meat. But the problem with just eating meat is you just eliminated all the plant-based food. So you've eliminated fiber. You've eliminated a lot of enzymes and phytonutrients and, essential nutrients that our body needs, right? I mean, on the other side of the coin, we have the vegans who would say, well, just eliminate meat, right? And just eat plants. And anytime you go to the extreme where you're cutting out food groups, I mean, it may give you some short-term benefits, but the problem, when it's followed consistently over the long term, if someone actually has the discipline and willpower to follow this through, is you're going to create nutritional deficiencies. And that's where things can really go down the crapper, right? You're not optimizing. You're not necessarily nourishing the body on the cellular level. You're depriving it. And that's where a lot of deficiencies can start to accumulate over the long term. Now, in the short term, like in the course of a few weeks or maybe even a couple months, you're probably not going to notice it. But if someone were to follow this, like for the long term, like over the course of months or even years, yeah, you're going to start to see some serious deficiencies develop. And even the Liver King himself admitted in the documentary, he said, I was full of shit. He says, I was starving myself, depriving myself. And he said he had it all wrong. And now he admits, you want meat and vegetables. You want the best of both worlds. And this is what I've been preaching for years, meat and vegetables, right? You want the best so that you're nourishing the body on the cellular level, getting in your good quality of animal protein and all the nutrients that come with that, getting in your good quality plant-based foods and all the nutrients and fiber and enzymes and phytochemicals that come with that. And once you combine that together, it's amazing how well the body works, right? I mean, like, indirectly, I had to learn this the hard way because I've tried, keto. I've tried plant-based. I went vegan for a while, and I did like all these different crazy diets, like intermittent fasting, and even did some prolonged fasting for a while. And anytime you try to go to the extremes, yeah, you might get some short-term benefit, but the long-term isn't there. Like, you need to think of, what can I do as a sustainable and healthy approach, not just now and for the next few weeks or next few months, but what can I do for the rest of my life? And anytime you're following an eating plan, ask yourself, is this something I can sustain as a lifestyle? And if it's not, if it's only a short-term thing, then the results are only short-term. Right? Then I'm glad that, even the Liver King, who one of the most extreme hardcore advocates of carnivore out there, finally admitted it's a crock of shit. So, I thought that was pretty enlightening, and that's why I wanted to share it, because it just, right? Because a lot of people follow it and think that, oh, he's jacked, he's ripped, he's huge, and he's following carnivore. Well, he's jacked, ripped, and huge. First off, because obviously he has good genetics to be jacked, ripped, and huge. They also admitted he was taking over $10,000 worth of drugs every month, PEDs, growth hormone, and whatever else. So there's a lot more than just eating meat that went into that. Right? But anyway, at the end of it all, he admitted, I was full of shit. Right? Anyway, enough rambling on about him. If you haven't checked it out, it's worth watching. But I have to admit, that whole documentary it's kind of like a train wreck, right? Like, it's all over the place, but you just can't stop watching it, right? That's the way I found it. All right, what else we got there? We have Peter joining in. Welcome, Peter. He says, I'm 63 from England. Can I do small circuit weights, light, finish, bit heavier to get leaner? Thanks, Lee. Love the channel. Been doing weights for about 1 year, 2 days a week. Not seeing much. All right. Well, kudos to you for working out for the past year. I mean, hey, you got to start somewhere. All right. Everybody got to start somewhere. And that's the hardest part. Saying, can I do small circuit weights, light, finish, bit heavier to get leaner? All right. We really need to unpack that. I don't know what your definition of light circuit weights are. Like if you're trying, if your definition of light circuit weights is, hey, I'm curling soup cans, or I'm curling the pink dumbbells and I'm trying to do a little circuit routine, you're not going to see much with that, right? The whole purpose of weight training is you need to stimulate the muscle, and you actually need to provide enough resistance that you're getting some progressive overload and some stimulation from it. So I understand the thing, like you want to start off light and start off within your means, but you have to have that progressive overload. It has to gradually get heavier and more challenging as the time goes on. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect to get progress, right? Like you have to progress it. You have to challenge yourself. And that's the key with any form of training, whether it's athletic training, weight training, endurance training. If you just keep doing the same stuff over and over and over again, I mean, you will plateau at the level that you're doing. If you want to get bigger, stronger, and fitter, you have to challenge your body. And that applies even in your 60s. Like we've got guys in our program who are in their 70s and are still training with progressive overload. Like one guy in particular, Paul Miller, he's a regular over on our Muscle After 40 program. Paul is in his 70s right now. I think he's either 70 or 71. I'm not sure exactly where, but he's that age. And like he's pulling over 300-pound deadlifts. Like I think he's like 315 for repetitions in the deadlift. Like he's challenging himself. He's not just doing little lightweight circuit pumping reps. Like he's pushing himself with progressive overload and actually trying to get stronger, even in his 70s. And that's where you really see the benefit of strength training, is when you do so. But you got to train in a progressive overload fashion. So I'm not saying like, hey, go and start trying to lift 300 pounds right now, but work up to like have in your mind, like I'm going to build up to that, right? I'm going to start where I'm at now, whatever that happens to be. I don't care if you're lifting the empty barbell, but realize that that's going to gradually build. I'm going to, add 5 pounds to that, and then add another 5 pounds and another 5. And over the course of weeks and months and over the course of years, you're going to build yourself up to lifting heavier weight. And that's when the results really compound. And you need to think bigger, because like a lot of times people are looking like seeing, I worked out today, I don't look any different. Like if you work out, you follow the best workout program, you follow the best diet, you get a good night's sleep, you take all your supplements, you drink, a gallon of water today, you're going to wake up tomorrow morning and you're not going to see diddly squat. You're going to look exactly the same. Vice versa. If you eat like shit today and you don't exercise and you get a terrible night's sleep and whatever, tomorrow you're going to look exactly the same. Like in the short term, nothing happens. Whether you do all positive things or you do all negative things, in the short term, nothing happens, right? Like You could smoke a pack of cigarettes today. You're not going to have cancer tomorrow. But if you smoke a pack of cigarettes today and do it again tomorrow and the next day and the next day, over the course of weeks and months and years, you're going to start to see the negative effects compound. Same thing with fitness, right? If you start exercising, taking care of your body, eating properly, sleeping, getting adequate rest and recovery, and doing all these positive things over the course of weeks, months, and years, you're going to see those results compound as well. But this is where, like, I'm not seeing much. Right, like I could go, and again, I use the example again. Like I could start smoking cigarettes, and I could say, "Well, hey, I've been smoking cigarettes for a full week. I haven't got cancer yet. It's not doing anything to me." But if you continue to smoke, you're going to start to see the results, or the negative results, the side effects, if you will. Same thing when it comes to fitness. I could work out for a week or 2 or 3 and not see anything, but if I keep doing that week after week, month after month, year after year, eventually you're going to start to see the changes. And it's usually in the long term. Like, it's not just where do you want to be in the short term, but like in a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, even 10 years from now, that's when you really see the results compound, and people are going to be looking like, whoa, what the heck are you doing? What the heck are you taking? Right? What supplements are you on? It's not that you're doing anything crazy. It's just that you've let that consistency compound over the course of a long time. And that's what you need to focus on. Right? So again, you've been doing it for a year. That's a fantastic start. Congratulations. You deserve a pat on the back, but we need to start amping it up to the next level. And again, if you'd like to have some help with planning out an action plan to take it to that next level, reach out to me, right? This is something that we cover within our whole Muscle After 40 program. I mean, it's designed to help guys save the trial and error and to shortcut the learning curve so that you can get on the fast track to making progress and having an efficient training, nutrition, and lifestyle approach to your fitness so that you start maximizing the time you're spending in the gym and not just floundering around and trying to figure out this and that through trial and error and hoping that it works, right? Because that can be frustrating. And very often, if you don't see the results and you don't have a clear vision of where you're going, people they try it, they flounder around, and then like, didn't work for me, I quit. And then you just leave all that potential results, untapped. Whereas if you have a structured program and you have a team of people around you, people who've been there, done that, and are helping other people to do the same, then you kind of like, it just shortcuts that learning curve and helps to amplify your results that much faster, right? That's what the whole program's all about. So again, if you'd like some help with that, reach out to me. And we can have a chat and see if we can map out an action plan that's right for you. We have Joseph joining in. Says, what are your thoughts on signing up for a powerlifting competition for a 60-year-old guy like me? That, first off, anybody can do a powerlifting competition, right? Like, especially if it's a novice open level bodybuilding show, you could sign up and squat, bench, and deadlift the empty barbell, right? And compete in powerlifting. So the entry, if you will, is very low. Like, same when it comes to bodybuilding, for that matter. Like, if it's a novice open bodybuilding competition, anybody can show up regardless of what you look like. I mean, if whether you're shredded or you got a belly that sticks out further than your chest, you can still compete on a bodybuilding stage. Now, you might not necessarily get the respect or whatever, people might ridicule you, but you can do it. So if this is something that you want to do, go for it, right? And then this is the secret to competition, right? For your first competition, the goal is just to show up. Like, if you're really serious about it and you want to do it, just show up, pick a competition, sign up for it, register for it, do your best, give it 100% effort and try to do your best and enter that competition, but don't have any expectations. Like, don't go in there and say, like, I'm going to blow everybody away and I'm going to win gold medal and yada, yada. Like, chances are you're going to get your ass kicked. Just admit that up front. You're going to just show up. You're going to get your ass kicked, but you're going to learn from the experience. You're going to build, some skills. You're going to learn from your mistakes. And the big thing is you're going to build friendships and connections, and you're going to meet people who are in your local area who are doing what you want to do. And that is going to be invaluable. And then you learn from that, and then you go back and get better for your next competition, and then just keep progressing that way. I mean, that's what I did with bodybuilding. That's what I did with cycling. Like, in my situation, when it comes to cycling, I did my first cycling race. Geez, it was a few years back now, but I was can't remember exactly how old I was, but I was it was 2023. I was about 44, I think it was, when I did my first cycling race, and I got my ass kicked. I placed dead last in my first race. I was the oldest guy in my category. There was another guy in his 40s who kicked my ass because he was an experienced cyclist, but most of the other guys were like in their 20s. But I signed up, right? Just showed up, had no expectations. I said, like, I signed up, show up. I'm here to learn. And because I went in there with that open mind and just said, like, no ego, no expectations. I just started talking to the organizers and other competitors and stuff. And they kind of like, they took me under their wing and they started to, give me some tips and pointers and things to focus on and what to look out for. And I actually met up with Mick Cutler, a guy who's he's a coach for the Canada Games athletes, and myself and Mick, now we stay in touch, and I actually, help out with the Canada Games athletes, and we do regular, cycling events and stuff like that. But he kind of took me under his wing and guided me and gave me some pointers and tips for how to cycle, how to compete in cycling races. Because, he's been doing this for years. He's a cycling coach. He's from the UK and competed with some, high level athletes, and really knows the sport of cycling inside out. So he kind of took me under the wing there and guided me, because I went in there with that open mind of like, there's no ego. I'm here to learn. I got no expectations. I just want to do my best and make progress. And when you go in with that attitude, people will sense that, and they'll do what they can to help you. Like, they'll open up the doors. The doors will open for you and they'll help you. But if you go in there cocky with an ego and think like, I'm going to blow everybody away, right? I'm the shit. People can smell that a mile away, and it's going to be a turnoff, right? So just go in there with an open mind and take it all in. And if you do that, it's amazing, how much you can learn and progress. Now, are you going to be an elite level powerlifter? Chances are no, especially if you're starting off in your 60s. But could you be in great shape, and especially for someone your age? Absolutely. Right? Like, that's so cool. That's one of the nice things about this. Like, you can start where you're at now and focus on getting better than you were before. And ultimately, that's all that matters, regardless of where you're at. Like, if you're starting from the bottom or you're, elite level athlete, progress is what we're after. We just want to see progress. And as long as you're getting better, you can enjoy the journey. So yeah, go for it. Right. One thing I would recommend, if you've never done powerlifting before, for the first one, ideally go watch a meet first. You'll learn so much just by going there as a spectator and learning and seeing how it's all done. Talk to some coaches, even potentially hire a coach, because powerlifting is a very technical sport. Just because you can squat, bench, and dead in the gym doesn't mean your squat, bench, and deadlift are going to count on the platform. Right? There's a lot of technique, and there's a lot of little nuances there that you need to focus on. So working with a coach can really help you to figure that out, because it would suck if you show up to the meet doing your gym lifts and then all of a sudden you realize, hey, my squats aren't deep enough. My bench didn't qualify. I didn't pause it at the chest long enough. Right? I hitched my deadlift, so that didn't count. And then you end up bombing out, in the meet because your lifts didn't pass from a technical point of view. I see that happen a lot. So working with an experienced coach can help you to fine tune and correct those things. All right. I'm going to get ready and clue this up, guys, because I know I do get the gift of gab rambling on there, but we've been going for over an hour now, and I have to clue it up because I actually have to meet up with some family members here. But thank you so much for tuning in. I always enjoy these live stream Q&A with you. And we had some new people joining into our chat today, which is always great. It's nice to see the audience growing. And if I didn't get around to your question, or if you want to elaborate on anything that we discussed here, feel free to reach out to me. You can friend me up on Facebook. If we're not friends over there already, we can chat through Messenger. If you don't use Facebook, you can send me an email. I've got my contact information down in the show notes below. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or you want to elaborate on anything that we discussed here today. And I'd be happy to get in touch with you. All right, guys, have yourself a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to talking to you next Friday for another Live at 5 Q&A. Take care. Over and out.